Well, nuclear power generation is becoming a goal in some nations across Sub-Saharan Africa. While nuclear proponents tout benefits such as no carbon emissions, its critics bring up cost and safety problems. In this second of a two-part segment of Empowering Africa series, VOA senior analyst Jeffrey Young sets forth the balance sheet on this controversial means of electrification.
With more than half of Sub-Saharan Africa without permanent electrical service, nuclear power generation provides one option for turning on the lights. Some of the reasons why some countries choose nuclear power are set forth via Skype by Washington-based Center for Global Development energy researcher Abigail Sa.
Nuclear power has very low emissions and also has the capacity to produce a large baseload source of energy for African countries to support their growing populations.
Proponents also say that once a nuclear plant is built and fueled, it can run for years without needing to buy more fuel. But there are other costs, as spelled out via Skype by an energy analyst at the University of California, Berkeley, Daniel Kammen.
And then there's the problem of the waste management, which for every African country is going to be a service contract with Russia like Rosatom or China or France or somewhere else. And that adds a long-term expense that you don't get with renewables.
Nuclear plants and the radioactive waste they generate must be kept absolutely secure from intrusion and theft. Via Skype from the U.S. state of Colorado, Rocky Mountain Institute analyst Eric Wanless.
Providing that security costs a lot. And I think that regardless of the fundamental governance structures in countries in Sub-Saharan Africa, again, it comes back to a cost.
Nations with nuclear reactors need to have and enforce a regulatory structure that closely oversees them. Questions are raised by an analyst at the California-based James Martin Center for Non-Proliferation Studies, Miles Pomper.
Look at the situation in Africa and a lot of other situations where the government has issues with corruption or other problems. How are you going to ensure that these regulators are sufficiently independent and technically savvy to prevent an accident?
Even developed nations with full security and regulatory structures suffer nuclear accidents, as seen at Chernobyl, Ukraine in 1986 and Fukushima, Japan in 2011. Doubts about Africa's ability to effectively respond are raised via Skype by Greenpeace energy analyst Melita Steele.
I don't think there's a single government in Sub-Saharan Africa which would be able to effectively evacuate people who were affected by a nuclear catastrophe.
Despite the costs and hazards, some African countries still see nuclear power as an effective way to provide electricity and boost development. But others look to renewable sources, such as solar power, to bring lights to areas left in the dark. That's where we go next in Empowering Africa. Jeffrey Young, VOA News, Washington.
Well, Sub-Saharan Africa's effort to electrify is not just a matter of building big power plants and installing towers and wires. Solar power, feeding both into the main grid and powering remote areas, is getting favor. In Tuesday's segment of our Empowering Africa series, VOA senior analyst Jeffrey Young looks at this approach to bringing light to the people. So be sure to watch Africa 54 on Tuesday.